Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is Saturday the 22nd. How is everybody? Awesome, that's really good to hear. I am drinking chocolate milk currently. You probably notice, this is a big, weird thing, apparently, that's just specific to me. I don't like super chocolatey chocolate milk, but there's always still some that stays on the bottom. I only really like it to lightly turn the color. That's just me. All right. So, how is everybody? I think I already asked you that. It's Saturday night. I showed y'all Yellow Brick Road last week, so I don't have that to show you this week, but I do have a couple of things to show you. I've got an unfortunate, UFO, but we'll talk about that. We've got a little bit of quilting haul, a little bit of quilting stuff to actually show you this week, which is exciting. We have a Mr. Bear wandering around down at my feet. So let's, and I do have a little bit of actual, stitching haul to show. Where did it go? There it is. Alright. I did not start casting the spell because I forgot to take the pattern to work and make copies. So I'll be doing that this week. Silly. Alright, so diving right on in. Let's hit up the Q&A. The first question, which I apologize if I hadn't made clear prior to, comes from T. Heartsong, who asks, you aren't going to stop your videos once Mania ends, are you? And the answer is no. I will still be here, by and large, every week like always. You'll still see my smiling weirdo face. You'll still see Carol's smiling face. You'll still see my cross-stitch and stuff. So, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. As far as I know, it'll be July before I miss a week again, barring any sort of weirdness. So, yeah. So no, I will still be here. Alright, so Michelle Bindi Stitchy asks a fantastic question. She asks, how do you choose which projects are work projects? The answer for that is actually not overly simple, but it's not overly complicated. It's not like I have some, crazy algorithm. One of the things I do is I look at where in the piece I am, because sometimes a piece will rotate to being a work project for a certain amount of time, and then it'll go back to something different. So, for instance, when I was working on Zodiac, the frames, because they were one color and I didn't really have to pay a lot of attention, was a really good one. Baba Yaga was great because it was one color. A lot of times I'll do borders at work because there's not as much thinking that is needed for it. So it's really based a lot of the time on what's going on with an individual project. As well, at the same time, sometimes I'll pick projects that are ones I enjoy, but I'm in a spot where I'm just, particularly with a Quaker style, sometimes you just get one or two spots where it's just this part is just, I am struggling with this, so let me do a 30-ish minute burst a day on it to get me over the hump, and then I'm good to go from there. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. But that's sort of generally how I do it. So there are certain things that will not be work projects. Mirabilias, for instance. That's too much. Sometimes if it's one where I'm really trying to get it done, I'll take it to work and work on it a couple of days, just to get that extra little half hour in. Thank you to everyone who mentioned the machine tension. I did actually just have to pull out the bobbin, and I rethreaded the top. I reran the bobbin. It worked like a dream. So it must have just been whenever I did my last change with the bobbin that I just didn't do it right. And I did, well, and I also adjusted my top tension back to 4, so, yeah. So I just sort of did a basic reset, if you will. And it was great. Lori Carroll says that she's been off the grid for a few years and trying to get back to normal, and that she noticed the wall hanging behind me. Did I stitch and then quilt it? And the answer is actually no. Several of my stitching friends came together and stitched individual Quaker medallions with a piece when my father passed as sort of a memorial piece for him, and surprised me with it. So it hangs very proudly right here in my filming corner. So those of you who come to Virtual Stitchers on Friday nights, you always get to see it. It does come down when I do Oz Talk, which for those who may not remember is the talk show for the International Wizard of Oz Club that goes bi-weekly. Ish, but mostly bi-weekly. I'll replace, when I do it, I replace it with an Oz poster, just to get a little more Oz behind me. So, and then of course, Carol Channing smiling and looking over me as well. Which, by the way, if anyone has extra money that they're not doing anything with, her estate is going to auction on June 17th, and there are lots of wonderful Christmas presents you can get for me on it. Let's see, and so I'm not sure what you mean by where did I find the 70 fabric. Unless you mean this, actually I think I do. The fabric, I think you're referring to, I bought two Jolly Bars, from Fat Quarter Shop of a Blooming Bunch by Maureen McCormick for Moda Fabrics. So it's been out for a little while, so it's beginning to get a little bit harder to source, the pre-cuts and some of the yardage. So check around. You can still sort of find some, but not a ton. But that was my, that's where I got it. I got that specifically at Fat Quarter Shop. And I'm glad everyone seemed to enjoy the bit of Oz trivia from last week. There will probably be more when I come time to talk about the Tin Man. Alright, so this week's haul. So all I got in this week was my fabulous fabric of the month from Fortnite Fabrics. I'm doing their Expensive Rich. And it's a fat quarter of 32 opal even weave. And this one is called Doll Hairs. And it's a really pretty metallic green. Like, this is just beautiful. And I have no idea what I will stitch on it. Probably something Wizard of Oz. Not the Satsuma Street Oz, though, because I'm really committed to Willow for that, because that's gorgeous. And if it's going to be a companion piece to Alice, and Alice isn't on an opal, then that shouldn't be either. But, oh my god, this is just gorgeous. So, way to go, you guys. Way to go. Alright, so what did I work on this week? Well, we worked on a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to do is show you where I was on Baba Yaga when I discovered that unfortunately it's going in the UFO pile for a while. So, here's where it is. This is the design by Threadsower. And I discovered that when I chose to do it on this, I must have either I misfigured where the center of my fabric was, or without the border, I didn't figure correctly where the center of the piece was. Because the center of the piece is actually a little bit higher. So above this, I had like this much space between the top and the bottom, or between the edge of the fabric and the top of the design. That's how many rows were going to be between the bottom of the design and the fabric edge. Literally. which is a little too tiny for my tastes. So it's going in the UFO pile for a while, which makes me so sad because I was making such really, really good progress with it, and it's so pretty. But that is way too much to frog. Way too much to frog. And to try to sew like an extra strip on with the serging there, that's cutting it too close. And I'm afraid with the seam where it would be that I wouldn't be able to actually stitch on those last 2 rows. I think it's just too tight. So UFO pile it goes. Or I shouldn't say UFO. It's going to go into timeout. I may decide, hey, let's frog it and start all over again in a different spot this time. That said, beautiful pattern. Highly recommend. Yes. Okay. What else did I work on? Well, I worked on quilts. This is my Long Dog sampler. So here is the full pattern. I'm down here. So my goal was to work on the zigzag and then whatever colors were in the border from the zigzag, which I did accomplish. So here's where I am now on it. So everything from here up is done, minus obviously those couple of triangles that didn't show up, but they'll be here. So next month's goal will be to finish out the page, which is exciting. And then I'll have 2 pages done. Didn't take me 2 years to get 2 pages done. And this, I believe, is on, it's on Tiramisu from Under the Sea Fabrics. Using a Hocus Pocus bag. Alright, and another Hocus Pocus bag is where Chickens is. Also known as Every Day is a Beautiful Day, but I like calling it Chickens better. So here's the full pattern, for those who don't recall. And my goal was to do 300 stitches on the female hen. That was kind of a redundancy. And I got that goal accomplished. So here's the start of Bellina. Come on, y'all knew that was what I was going to be going for. So Bellina, which for those who don't know, is the yellow hen from the Oz book series. So next month I should finish her out, and then we'll get to start the fun parts. Which is the big bordery things. So, alright. Then my new work project became Atlantis from Owl Forest Embroidery, because it's one that's actually fairly easy to travel with. So here's where I'm at on this motif. So I've got a couple of more little spirally thingies and then a little bit of fill in here, and then I'll be ready to move on to another motif. So, here's where I'm at on it so far. So, I'm hoping there's those 2 motifs. And then 2 more smaller motifs, and then 1 big motif. So my plan is finish that and 1 other motif this month, do the next 2 motifs next month, and then maybe by August, because I think I'm going to have to split the second motif, the big motif in 2. But maybe by August I'll have Atlantis done. Or not Atlantis, or not the whole thing, but at least 1 part of Atlantis done. Alright. So, still to work on this month, I've got my Hige, I've got my Mirabilia, which was, the goal was one weekend day on it, so that is my plan tomorrow, is to work on my Mira. Lost my train of thought. Still get that. I still get Anne Frank. Um, and I was hoping to start Alice from Owl Forest. It looks like I was holding off trying for Aurifil to come in, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen quite as quickly as I'd hoped. The welcome kits, everything is kind of delayed. The welcome kits are coming from Italy, and I don't want to get behind on Alice, so I may at least start and then I'll fill in where I can with Aurifil or replace with Aurifil. But at least to get that border part started would be nice. But we'll see. If not, I'll start casting the spell, which may actually be a real thing that I start this week. We'll see. Who knows? So, that is it for the stitching. So if you're not interested in quilting, head on out, and I will see y'all next week. And if you are interested in quilting, well, stick around, because we're going to do quilting. Alright, so I've got some haul that I'll show you. Pulling up. Sorry, I should have been a little bit more organized. Okay. So, haul-wise this week, I did get my other Dorothy's Journey charm pack. Thanks to Robert of Robert's Palace of Stitches. He is actually going to be sending me, because he made one of my Oz bags using the Dorothy's Journey fabric. So he's sending me the remnants so that I can make the Cobblestone Courtyard Table Runner. This is by Antler Quilt Design. So there was enough fabric left for it. So it requires 2 charm packs, because it needs 48 squares. So I'll still have a bunch left over, which is awesome. And so I'll have a nice Oz table runner that I can use, which I'm excited for. Okay, so I got that, and then I got this kit. Y'all, I have been drooling over this thing since I saw this, because it's just so freaking adorable. It's Sweetfire Road. Here, chick, chick, chick. Told you I was becoming a chicken person, apparently. So here it is. The pattern is designed by Be So Inspired. The fabric line it uses is Break of Day by Sweetfire Road. And I got the kit from Heartland Quilt Shop on Etsy. I'll drop a link below. I don't know if they have any kits left, but I'll at least drop a link to their Etsy shop. But it came with all of the main things you need. So it came with the tracing paper. It came with the fusible web for applique. It came with a hand-cut charm pack of the entire line, which is so stinking cute, y'all. You don't even know. So here we go. Kind of flip through it a little bit. It's all so cute. I just love it. And then the fabrics for it. So you've got like this really cute green chicken scratch that is used for the grass. This really cute yellow that's part of the sun. This really cute chicken one. I mean, y'all, this is just so cute. There's one that's got little bitty white with little yellow sun prints. It's adorable AF. So it'll also be the first time I try applique. It's not going to be immediate though. But I just couldn't not get that because it's just so cute. Okay, other things I worked on. One of my fellow Aurifil artistes designed a pattern, so I was a pattern tester for it because he requested a beginner. It's called Checksident. I haven't shared it on Instagram yet because I wanted his response first, but I'm going to go ahead and show y'all here. So when the pattern becomes available, I will link it below, probably in another video, so you'll get to see this again. But here it is. I used just some extra random fabric that I had, so it's super bright. It kind of makes me think of the Golden Girls. But that was that. And it whipped together real quick. This was not the full quilt either. He just needed one 24 by 24 section done. So, if I were to actually do the full quilt, which I actually probably would because I enjoyed what I did, I would definitely use different fabrics than that. But it was good for just a quick, I need to test this pattern out on fabric that I'm not all that partial to. So I did that. And then the other thing I've worked on this week is the Joyful Stripes quilt, Quilt-A-Long, which this one's by Allison Ramsing. So there's what it looks like overall. So this week we were supposed to sew our strip sets together. So the laundry basket has them all. So the half of them are, I'm about probably a little over halfway through. So the strip sets look like this. So it's one background, one colored, or one print. So I've got this much left that I have to iron. So that's what I'm about to go do, is cut those apart and iron them. And then I will be ready to start assembling strip sets for next week. So that's the plan, is next week we'll be assembling our strip sets. So we'll be going from 432 strips to 144 blocks. And then, or mini blocks, I should say. So we're taking our strip sets to make the mini blocks. And then the last week will be to turn the mini blocks into the full blocks and sew the full blocks together. Hey. So, yeah. So we shall see. It should be exciting. It's going to be great. I'll have a full throw by the time I'm done. And then all I'll have to do is back it and quilt it and bind it. Fun. So yeah. So I hope everyone has a great week. I will see you all next week. And yeah, have a good evening, y'all.